mine, a colleague that covered the House of Reps by-election for Akoko North-East Northwest Federal Constituency, and that's the election that was conducted to replace the vacant seat of the current Minister of Interior, and that's Honorable Oluwabunmi Tunji. Remember, he won his second time election to represent the people of Akoko North-East Northwest in the House of Representatives, but the president said to pull him out and give him a ministerial appointment. So the same thing that happened in Lagos also, where the immediate past speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, also had to, drop his position, or as the reps, and to go pick up another appointment as the chief of staff to Mr. President. Even the one on the Plateau as well. There was Plateau State, the senatorial election, Plateau North, that on Thursday build up to the election, the PDP found out that they've been excluded from the ballot paper ahead of the election. So there were a lot of alliances and, I don't want to use the word merger now, but the PDP on the Plateau decided to support the candidate of the ADC, and he won. Prince Pam Mwadkon is the Senate elect, and of course the Labour Party, Daniel Asama, for Jos East House of Representatives. So but of all the people I spoke with, one thing that was significant in their responses is that the people did not come out to vote. The people decided to stay indoors. My colleagues that we covered the one for Surulere, one federal constituency, I'm sure they will be laughing with what I'm about to say now. There was a particular polling unit we went to cover, and we saw a lot of people sitting down. In short, the people that sat in that school were more than the people that have registered. So I asked one of them, I said, Oga, why have you not voted? He said nothing, he's waiting for a couple of people. So after a while, I heard someone also making a call, and I will say this in Yoruba. The person was speaking to the other person over the phone and saying, Sheti Dibo. Apparently, maybe the other person would say, oh, no, we've not. He now said, don't MIT Dibo, tell about you. That means don't vote until you collect your money. So I asked the person that, okay, is that why you've not voted? He said yes, that they are hungry. So if he leaves his house to come and vote, then they heard that they've given somebody money. Well, we waited. Nobody came to give anybody money. The person voted and left at the end of the day. But it just tells us a lot about our democratic system, how much we've grown over time. And I would always tell you, if you look at the simplest definition of democracy, it says the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. What that means is every policy of the government along democratic lines must be people oriented. That means you must consider the interest of the people that voted you into office, and even the ones that did not vote you into office. The Nigerian Constitution does not say you provide quality welfare only for the people that voted into office, or only people that shares the same party affiliation or religious affiliation or tribal affiliation. The moment you become the governor of a state, you become everybody's governor, irrespective of their political party. The moment you become the president of a country, you become everybody's president. Whether a region voted for you or a part of the country did not vote for you, you become everybody's president. So if the democratic definition says the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, what that means is it is about the people. Your policies must, constantly be in line with the expectations and the aspirations of the people of your country. Your policies must be such that it will increase the quality of their lives. Your policies must be such that it will give everybody a level playing ground. Whether you're in a private sector operator, or you work within the public service, you're a public servant, for instance, or you work within the civil service, or you work in the private sector, everyone must benefit from the policies of the government positively. And that's the fact. Whether you sell by the roadside, or you sit on top of the biggest blue chip companies anywhere in the world, or in Nigeria here, you should feel the impact of democracy. Dr. Mewazi Dandara would always say that we should stop asking for dividends of democracy. Rather, we should demand that government should give us quality life, a level playing ground, life that will make you know that, yes, I'm proud to be a Nigerian and I'm truly a Nigerian. And that's what I've always asked people to talk to us about. How do you think this kind of democracy would encourage the people to get involved in democracy? The by-election over the weekend simply just tells us that is either the people don't trust the system again, the electoral umpires, or the people don't trust democracy itself again. I mean, you look around in a space where about 31,000 people registered in that ward to vote, and just about 3,000 people came out. A place where they had about 23,000 and only 1,115 people came out to vote. It's two things. It's that people are tired of what the government is doing and they don't want to be interested in that government again, or the people don't trust that the electoral bodies or everyone involved in election here would probably be in a compromised position, and they don't think they can trust whatever the outcome of the result would be. It's either ways, and both ways is detrimental to the sustenance of democracy, whether you like it or not. If the people don't show interest in a democratic process, is a threat to democracy. If the people don't trust the judiciary, is a threat to democracy. If the people don't trust the electoral bodies, INEC, the police, is a threat to democracy. So whether you sold your vote or you decide to abstain and not exercise your franchise, is a threat to democracy. We're going to focus on that today. And also, we also look at, now that the president is back in the country, what should be the priorities? Somebody made a post yesterday that, Mr. President, while you were away, and the person started listing things that had happened, the kidnap of the pupils in Ekiti State, the ones in Abuja, the ones in this, the killings in this, and I'm like, what exactly is going on? We also look at that as well. As the president is returning right now, what should we fix to offer us a quick fix? Because if you look at how government works, there are long-term plans, there are mid-term plans, there are short fixes. Where we are right now, Nigerians are demanding for quick fixes. Just give us quality of life. Just give us that idea of, yes, I want to wake up every day and I want to aspire to be the best while still in this country. Well, Side Forward is here, and it's always my pleasure when we get to do this every Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. It's an old bar session. We just say it exactly the way it is. Those conversations that you would not get on the surface of your newspapers or your news outlets, we take it way beyond that. Well, I would play you the recording of the by-election on Saturday, the announcement that was made by the returning officer, and then we'll come back, we'll get straight up into the conversation. But Side Forward, it's another Wednesday, and it looks like we're just going to continue from where we left last week. It doesn't look like a lot of things have changed in the past 7 days that we've been here. The price of naira to dollar, and I would always say it, probably because we're quite familiar with the dollar. The naira is struggling with even CFA. Even Kwanza, the Angolan currency, is trading at almost 1 Kwanza to 1 naira now. I mean, you ask yourself again, how much more can we do in this? Side Forward, you're welcome to the show again.
All right, thank you so much, Opeyemi Akinyode, for having me in the studio. Again, like you said, from last week on the show, nothing seems to have changed. It's still the same story of the forex crisis, insecurity, rising food prices. I think the dominant issue now, Opeyemi, is the cost of food. The rising food prices. There seems to be food insecurity. There seems to be a crisis when it comes to people being able to take care of themselves. And that's what the president is going to come back to meet. He's back in the country, and I think the brief he's going to get from his cabinet ministers, from the chief of staff, from the security chiefs, is that, look, all is not well with the country. While you are away, well, I expect that even while he's away in his private visit, he will be getting daily briefings. There are daily briefings that he will be getting. But it's not like when you're back home. The reality stares you in the face. The number of visits you are going to get, the number of briefings he's going to get. I assume that while he was also on his private visit, he had enough time to rest. So he should be fully fit now to attend to matters of state. But I think we are not in a good place. I think there's a lot that the president will have to attend to. That's the president that said we shouldn't pity him. He asked for the job. And I think at this time what Nigerians are demanding of him is to do the job. And what's the job? First, give them security, give them power, give them infrastructure, give them good health, give them education, at least give them the dividends of democracy, at least for once. From 1999 till date, if you ask me, have Nigerians gotten the dividends of democracy? I'll say no. By the potentials the country have. I always say it. I don't know of any other country that is as blessed as Nigeria. Okay, I don't know. I've checked. That look, is there a country that God loves so much? That is look. Look at the arable land. Look at the solid mineral resources, 44 of them, spread in 500 different locations in different parts of the country. There's no state in Nigeria, Opeyemi, that does not have a solid mineral. No state in Nigeria. At least there will be one or two. And then look at the weather we have, and then the population. I would say it is not even an aging population, Opeyemi. It's a vibrant, youthful, active population that can move things. So what they are needing is just the lead from government. Give them that lead to say, okay, this is the direction we're going, and they'll follow. Nigeria, look at the creative industry, look at the sports industry, look at the energy, the level of intellect we have. It's the most amazing country I've ever seen. Okay, I mean, Nigeria is blessed, but again, leadership is the big question. How do we drive that, potentials into what we can now say, yes, this is the country of our dreams? That's the question now.
One of the funny things I get to hear from people is when they say the worst of us are ruling the best of us, and
the worst of us are a creation of us too.
It's not even far-fetched to say forward. When you look at the electoral process, the system that brings up those people, those individuals that we've trusted with our franchise to represent us, to legislate on our behalf, or even to govern us. I mean, you look at the quality of what we bring out when it comes to having this conversation. I gave you a report after the election on Saturday.
On Saturday, yeah.
And one of the things that got into
how worried you were about the whole thing.
I was worried because I saw the election with a registered voter of about 140,733
registered voters. Yeah,
I mean, even the head of department for voters education and publicity for INEC was with us here last week Friday as a build up to the election.
Yeah.
And he told us that the people are excited to come out to participate, to exercise their franchise. Iİrsᴛ쏘ജ. Unfortunately,
the entire tally was not up to 14,000.
It was not up to 12,000.
The entire tally.
in a space where about 140,000 people
registered
were registered
to
vote. In fact, there were places where they had a voter register of about 31,000 and about 2,300 came out to vote. So that's where we're going to start.
Those ones were also induced to come out. Most likely.
And maybe you were listening while you were coming. That people were calling each other across the unit to confirm. No.
Okay.
Somebody was Kule Daniels and
Eric.
No, so all of us were there. Somebody was calling right where we were monitoring, and the person was speaking to someone over the phone. I said, I will say it in Yoruba. Sheti Dibo. Maybe the other person said no, we've not. The person was telling that no, MIT Dibo that means don't vote until they give you your money.
So it's vote for sale.
So once the person was done, I asked him, I said, is that what you are waiting for too? He said yes. That wouldn't have left his house and come and queue here if there's nothing for.
So the numbers you even saw, despite the poor numbers,
it's not even that
they were induced. Like they wanted really to do what they did, like come out and
that's
vote.
where we're going to start from. But I'm going to play you the voice of the returning officer for the Surulere and one federal constituency by-election, Professor Adebayo Oladapo. I will play you his voice, the announcement, and when we come back, we're going to explain how much threat is this democracy that we value so much. This is the longest stretch we've had aside from 1999 till now. No interruption. I used to call it interruption, even though the military brothers call it intervention. But have we really grown within the last 24 years or 25 now? From 1990 now, it's going to be 25. Take a listen to the returning officer for INEC for Surulere Federal Constituency 1 by election that was won by the candidate of the APC. Yes, that's Honorable Fuad Laguda. He had over 11,000, and the closest team was 270, the candidate of the PDP. Your life on Milan.
I, Professor Simeon Adebayo Oladipo, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2024 Surulere 1 Federal Constituency by-election held on the 3rd day of February 2024. The election was contested and the candidates received the following votes. Esebame Collins, male, ADC, 40 votes, 4-0. Laguda Kayode Fuad, male, APC, 11203. 11203. Ololade Adesoji Johnson, male, ABGA, 6. Abga 6. Ekuruke Samuel Uchechi, male, APM 7. Yunusa Musa Adisa, male, APP 4. Adebanjo Adiola Damilola, male, LP 240. Alewe Latifat Damilola, female, NNPP 8. Afemike Jerry, male, PDP 278. Afolabi Otubaga, male, SDP 2. Brito Oluwole Augustine, male, YPP 9. Emerili Anthony, male, ZLP 4. That Laguda Akinyode Fuad of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. I, Professor Simeon Adebayo-Oladipo,
to bring normalcy and redecorate is more difficult.
The general elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true to their own
Opeyemi, Akinyode, and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Okay, welcome back. In case you just tuned in, you've not missed so much. We're just going to get straight into the crux of the conversation for today. And also, you're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. This program comes up every Wednesday. It's Midweek Politics from 1 to 3 p.m. Said Fuad and I get to do this. We get to give you conversation beyond the regular news you get from your outlet. And, well, we're building a social media family and would like to invite you to be a part of it. Follow us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. On X, formerly Twitter, it's Mainland FM. On Instagram and YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. Set up your notification so that you get to see our updates, news breaks, and every of the programs that you get to miss, you get to watch them again. Well, Said Fuad, you just heard the voice of the returning officer for the Sᴏùìrìᴅ 1 federal constituency by-election that was held over the weekend. The candidate of the APC, Laguda Fuad, won the election with about 11,203, and the closest to him was the PDP with 278, the Labour Party with 240, the ADC with 40. Some parties had 6, some parties had 7. Said Fuad, I got really worried, not as a journalist on Saturday, but as a concerned Nigerian that have prayed and, tried the best we can to make sure that this democracy we have is sustained. But when you start seeing those results, and this is not peculiar to Lagos alone, in Akoko, in Ebonyi, where all of those by-elections held, there were reported cases of clear voter apathy. When you start seeing those numbers, Said Fuad, as against the expectations that Nigerians went into the last general election with, almost 100 million people picked up their PVCs. People were eager to go into the election. How did it make you feel? First, let's start from there.
Well, I think people are still struggling with a lot of disappointments they got with the conduct of the last election, the general elections, not the off-cycle election or probably this by-election. I'm talking about general elections in February and March of 2023. And again, a lot of Nigerians before that election went out there, struggled to get their PVC. Those that didn't have their PVCs registered, struggled to get their PVCs, and were expecting that at least for the first time in the history of the country, we're going to have an election that will be reflective or will reflect the will of the people. But again, a lot has happened after then. You know, the way the results, the elections in itself were conducted, the issue of voter suppression, vote buying, manipulation of results, and eventually what became of what a lot of Nigerians had hoped was going to be some form of transformation of our electoral process, which was supposed to be the introduction of technology, Opeyemi, IREV, the BVAS thing, and eventually, you know, what eventually also happened with our courts, you know, court pronouncements on some of the things a lot of people had expected was going to be the deciding factor for, you know, what you can call a transparent electoral process. You know, a lot of Nigerians eventually now learned that the IREV in itself was just like a viewing center. It was just a viewing portal. It had no relevance really to the conduct of the elections, no real relevance to the conduct or the results of the election itself. So I think a lot of people felt disappointed with that. They also felt disappointed in the fact that, look, we're still not where we're supposed to be. You know, that thing you call transparent elections, we're still very, very far from it. And that's why a lot of Nigerians are saying that, look, we cannot continue like this, Opeyemi. We can never continue like this, you know.
But if we say we can't continue like this, what I heard, yes, that conversation I played out, it took me back to what one of my political mentors would always say, that if you decide to pull away from the election, it will not stop the election from
holding. Yes.
If you decide to boycott the election, if it is only one person that voted, the result to be announced based on that one person.
I mean, that argument is valid. But you know, for some individuals, what they will say is that, look, I would rather not be a part of an election that will produce a result that is not reflective of the will of the people. That I would rather stay away from a process that I know would have, because either way, like you said, you participate or not, the election will still happen. These other people are also thinking that, look, if I participate or not, too, they will still do what they want to do. So I would rather not go out there to stress myself, queue up, go through the rigor of voting, than, you know, let me just stay at home, probably just stay on the sidelines. Look, the reality is that we have to fight voter apathy. We can't begin to blame people who have refused to be a part of the system, because again, there are people who say, look, it's even wrong for you to go into what you know is going to be a flawed process. When you already know that, look, this is going to be a flawed process, you still go ahead and participate in it. So you can't blame Nigerians who are disenchanted. You can't blame Nigerians who are disturbed completely, who are discouraged by the turn of events, especially with our electoral process. And that is why I'm saying that, look, okay, this is 2024. We have less than 3 years, or about 3 years now, before we start talking about another round of elections.
The primaries is going to be in 2026.
So
that's 2 years from here.
2 years. You know, so a lot of people don't know that, look, when it comes to the election cycle in Nigeria, what a new government has for governance really is about just 2 years, not even up to 2 years, because by the time the government is getting to the third year, they're already talking serious politics. Already conventions have been held, primaries have been held, campaigns have started, internal politicking has started, and so a lot of focus shifts from governance to politics. And so I'm saying that, look, at this time, let's even ask ourselves, should we approach 2027 with this flawed electoral process? Okay, I mean, by November we're going to have another round of elections. You know, Ondo is coming, and I'm not going to. I know we're not going to get anything different. It's still going to be the same story of harassment, voter intimidation, manipulation of results. It's going to be the same thing. But I'm like, why is it that our political class, and that's one question I keep asking myself. Yes, the ruling government, the ruling party may not bother with electoral reforms. They are in government anyway, and they probably would think that, well, the process, no matter how flawed you think it is, produced us. So let us maintain status quo. Let it be what it is. But for the ruling party that has suffered defeat, and I've said that, look, one of the reasons why they lost the election was because of the flawed electoral process. I'm still surprised that they are not talking about electoral reforms, Opeyemi.
They're already looking at forming to rescue democracy.
Look, you are forming a coalition. You are talking about coming together to be a part of what. Look, I said it to Sandra that, look, if they like, let them form coalition from now till tomorrow. with this electoral process we have,
it's going to be the same story.
The story will be the same. Maybe one or two issues will come up, maybe they are able to take one or two things, but generally they'll still be roundly defeated if they are not careful. So I think that by now, what should be the priority of the opposition political parties will be a call for electoral reforms. Luckily, they have a reasonable number in the National Assembly that can begin to make it a national agenda. So look, I told somebody it should even come as hashtag electoral reforms now. We should have a situation where Alhaji Atiku Abubakar issues a statement, tweets, does anything, end it with hashtag electoral reforms now. A Mr. Peter Obi should make a statement, should issue press releases and complete it, even if it's not related to electoral reforms, but that look, hashtag electoral reforms now. Opeyemi, until we get our electoral processes right, we are not going to get anywhere. Because look at local government elections, for example. Opeyemi.
I always find it difficult to put the word election and local government together.
Because you and I know, for those of us that understand what politics is, we know that what we do at the local government level is it's just a joke. And that's why you see that consistently it is the party in government at the state level that clears everything. What kind of election is that? But Opeyemi, I grew up at a time in this same Lagos where the results of local government election will determine your fate as a governor. We had local governments that were always anti the ruling party.
No matter what.
That we know. They even give it to them. Local governments like Badagry, they will always vote for the opposition. Local governments like I think is Yᴏᴜᴜ. There's about 3 or 4 local governments that would always, no matter what you do, they will not vote for the ruling party. And so I've witnessed, I've monitored local government elections, how intense, how competitive it used to be. But now it's just all a joke. It's always the internal competition within the ruling party. Immediately you are nominated as a candidate of the ruling party, you start to celebrate, just start to celebrate, because it's all shame. Nothing is happening. So, and that is why if you go to our local government, ask yourself, just evaluate the local government chairmen we have, their capacity. Sometimes you have a conversation with some of them, you just shake your head. Because these are not, there's no reason why we shouldn't be having the best of our brains at the local level. When I say the best of the best.
And maybe they use local and they think it should be local.
The local is not, it's about.
I understand. It's about taking democracy to the people. That's the closest arm of government.
In fact, it's supposed to be the most active. It's supposed to be the most, because that's the closest to the people. They are the people that are supposed to really bring the dividends of democracy close to the people. But now we've left it in the hands of political stooges, political jobbers who are able to, scale the friends of gated democracy with practice and then get themselves nominated and okay, I want to stop journalism, and I think I want to go back, for example, to my state and politics. I want to get into the house, but your democracy Opeyemi. Now, it's either you have the money or you have the ties electoral system.
That also came to my mind. Voters what are doing this convictions.
That's yes.
I know a lot of people, even the ones we don't know. A lot of people did and say, I listened to this one. I took my time to read this person manifesto. So I went through the renewed hope, working documents. I looked at Atiku's own. I feel Mοποieleso is better. Let me vote for him, even though he won't win. Now that is where my own issue is. Election is not just about INEC.
About the people.
Election is about the people. Election is about the political parties and their choices. Now I want to talk about the people in the election. Side forward, you can collect 20,000 and vote. You don't have any moral compass. You don't have any moral justification to look at me in the eye and say I did not perform. Because when I was coming to campaign to you, you said without money you will not come out to listen to me speak. I gave you money. On election day, I gave my agents money. They shared money to you. You snapped yourself, snapped your meat. I gave you everything. So what moral justification do you have to ask me that I've not delivered in office? Did you put me in the office?
No justification.
No, I'm just I'm driving somewhere.
All right.
So when we say that the system is monetized, these politicians don't cook money to serve to people side forward. They give people.
They give, yes.
They give the people amongst us. The people that they feel, oh, these ones are up many years. You've seen these things. I'm not even talking about the ones during that period, the hotel that we were lodged. They were moving side forward. They were moving money from it has to be money in those bags, because that's not
they are not ballot papers.
So neck is faulty. We can say the police is compromised when it comes to election. We can say the political parties are not doing enough. But you and I, these people don't give monies to ghosts. They give monies to people that we know. The Olori Odo in your community will collect money and say, take this 20,000, give it to the people in this house. The woman leader, the religious leader, the this, the that. Everybody will collect these monies. And I'm here. I'm a politician side forward. And politics is good business in Nigeria. I've invested 100 million in the election. In fact, my party already collected 50 million as nomination form. So all the consultation I've done, traveling, the money goes somewhere. So when I get into office side forward, I've invested 100 million. I've collected loan from bank. I've sold my family land. I've sold my wife's car because I want to get into office side forward. If I get into office, if you invest 100 million in a business, this is not the ideal situation in every point. I've invested in this same as they were preloaded exotic cars you could not afford by himself. You will be paying it. What does he want? They will tell you, candidate so and so is coming. I remember the day Sᴏᴜ came to the office when he was here with us in the studio prior to the election. Of course, we made all of the posts and everything, and somebody commented on one of the social media platforms and said, don't get money. Money don't enter your pocket. There's poverty everywhere. But saying reforms, we can see in terms of, you look at the Electoral Act, don't even look at, are we going to candidacy? The issue of voting diaspora voters. Why do I need to go to the polling unit side forward? In 2016, during the election of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, one of my uncle was in Nigeria. I shared data with him from my phone to vote.
To cast his vote.
He voted from his city room in Ogba. He voted for his preferred candidate in the US. Look at what we have in Nigeria side forward. Do you know how many forms of identification we have in this country? You have NIN. You have LASTRA, Lagos resident card. You have all of these things together. Why can't we start putting up policies that were not in Nigeria, but I want to vote? I'm eligible to vote, but I want to exercise my franchise irrespective of what part of vote I am.
Well, look at me. I even think that we should even start from the basic things. Diaspora voting, and we even so before we now begin to and that was why I said that. Look, a lot of Nigerians had hoped that with the introduction of IREV and BVAS. Look at IREV. As you are voting,
it's going to it gives
it doorstep for this candidate and this person a view the content to behave properly during the election. And that is why, in societies they keep the criminal elements in a society. But you put a structure in place that ensures that that your criminality is difficult for you to carry out. So even if you want to do your shenanigans in an election, whether as a politician or the voter, the law, the system ensures you are not able to do it. And that's why we are saying that, look, the first thing is that there are elements in that electoral reforms committee recommendation that demonetizes our electoral process. You talked about the fact that every politician is ready to give out money, and that's the reason why they are not obliged to do anything. Looks at himself and says, look, he said that was for me, because he knows that from me to vote. So let me just keep the money so that I have enough watches, financial watches, to be able to fight my battle. So we need to reform our electoral process, Opeyemi, to the point where it becomes difficult for anybody to give money before or during elections. Now it's going to be very tough. It's not going to happen overnight, because the beneficiaries of this
are the ones in charge
of making that intervention. But Opeyemi, whether they like it or not, where we are going, they'll be forced to make that intervention. Already there are protests all over the country because of hardship in the land. Not because we don't have people in government, but because we don't have a government. Like somebody told me recently, I think it was WŽＳOᴜnsAᴘᴜ, that look, we have people in government, but we don't have a government. Because the only way for us to know we have a government is when we begin to see the dividends of democracy. So it's all motion without movement. Every electoral cycle, we elect people, they go into government, they better their own lives, they better the lives of their family members, they better the lives of their political friends and cronies, and nothing happens to governance, really. And that's what we are seeing here. That's why people are saying that, look, what then is the dividend of democracy? What have we gotten from this election process? We are going to run. I'll be so disenchanted. I was at the last election, I was in a polling booth where thugs stood and turned people back. I had situations where thugs manned the entrance of a polling unit, a polling station, and what they did was that they stood there. The police authorities were there doing nothing, and they will ask you, where is your voter's card? Immediately they see your name and they suspect that you are coming to vote for a different
party, they tell you to go back.
They turn you back. Okay, so as a journalist, I'll be so happy to go and witness that kind of thing. I want to be a journalist that will go out on elections day to see people go out and queue, cast their ballots, and then wait for the election results and tally, and be happy that their votes have counted. That's the kind of journalism I want to see on elections day. Not the one that will not be reporting, or they broke somebody's head. You saw what we saw now in the larger election of Opeyemi. In covering the elections, we met at Amuwodofi. We jammed.
That Amuwodofi experience was
while you were there, we also came in at different ends. And what did we see? Bemba that was supposed to barbarians. Well, it's not the Banana Republic.
2023, not 1970.
Not 1970. So okay, so we'll now get so excited, we'll forget all of those things because we have very short memories of Opeyemi, and then we'll now approach 2027, and then I'll go out to the elections there as a journalist and begin to see that again. I'm sorry, if I look at my age, and from 1999 till date, I know my age in 1999 of Opeyemi, and I know how old I am now, and for a lot of Nigerians too. From 2023 now, another 4 years, if you add it to my age, I'm sorry, I don't want to risk another 4 years seeing the same thing, because what's left? What is left? Okay, no, let's get serious.
Let's even open it up a little bit. You're listening to Midweek Politics, 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland FM. Side forward, if we say that the electoral system has its own issues, the electoral system is not running on autopilot. It's being administered by people, the ad hoc staff, the INEC staff. We've seen reports where even INEC staff have been alleged to have compromised the electoral system. We've seen, in fact, the last by-election I was conducted just a few days ago, the electoral officer for Jos North was suspended by the INEC National Commissioner, and his arrest was ordered immediately. He was arrested immediately because when they checked the non-sensitive materials, when they went to do their confirmation, the ballot papers were complete based on the voter register. But by the time the election and voting started, in a place where they're supposed to have 1,200 people, only 93 ballot papers came out. Where are the remaining? You said it got missing in transit. Which transit? From where to where? So we have individuals that are compromised, that are saddled the responsibility of handling the most important responsibility you have as a citizen after paying tax.
No, we just have to, that's what I'm saying, that look, you can begin to have bits and pieces of problems we have in our electoral system, from compromised officials to compromised security operatives, from compromised voters, from compromised politicians. The entire system is compromised. Let's not deceive ourselves. I've seen people say, you say the electoral process is bad, but Labour Party won in Lagos. You see, when you have a situation where there's a larger percentage of a failed system, you have a right to generalize. Sure. Not one or two bright spots here and there to now say, the process is okay. The reality is that you need to now evaluate and say, okay, the larger percentage of the process has failed. You can say the entire process has failed. So we can't just say, one or two issues here and there, because one or two things happen properly, you now say, because of that the entire process is okay. No, you have to look at the percentage and say, what level of failure, what level of success. So
you cannot put 70% failure to override 30%
success. It's not going to happen. That's what we saw in the last election. Yes, one or two success here and there, but largely it was a failed process. On a larger scale, it was a failed process, and so it is right in research to generalize and say, look, this entire process is not working. And where were we coming from, Opeyemi? Apart from maybe Jonathan that decided not to even go to court, it wasn't as if the process was even right under Jonathan. It was just a president that decided, look, I'm not going to do anything really. But that was even presidential election. What happened to governorship elections? what happened to the state assembly and national assembly elections. It was the man made an effort to set up committee of well-meaning Nigerians, to come up with a recommendation. That recommendation is 2008.
It's dusty somewhere.
It's there. Nobody has touched it. And I'm saying again that, look, for people who have not read that report, they should go dig it up. It's there online to see the regulatory authorities that are supposed to operate in our elections, how to ensure that we don't monetize our electoral process. There's even the issue of independent candidates. And then the voting system too. There are even timelines. In that committee report, it is even said that, look, we should conclude the election 6 months to hand over, so that Opeyemi, where a ruling president still has a presidential case in court. The Electoral Reforms Committee has recommended how we can have a smooth system about the people. Let us start from there. Let's begin to even reform from that level, and then we can begin to build, and then make things perfect. But what we have now, I'm saying it that, look, if our politicians are so happy with what we have, and they're expecting that this is what we're going to do again in 2027, then I just conclude that we're not ready. And I'm waiting for the PDP, the Labour Party, other ones.
Like the last time we did.
It's just going to be a complete waste of time. Just on the sidelines, there's an event going on in Abuja. And I'm looking at the roll call of people present at the flag off of a road. 11 kilometers. 11 kilometers road. It's not a commission,
A flag off.
A flag off of a road in Abuja. Just 11 kilometers. And the whole of Nigeria is at that event. It's even being televised live. But the funny thing about me, have you seen the senator representing the FCT in that event? Senator Iṛsᴛ쏘ജ. This is we are talking about the attitude of our politicians. She has said that, look, she has not been able to see eye to eye with the FCT minister. That in fact she had made overtures, she has sent text messages,
and it's just two of them.
They are supposed to run the state.
Yes.
The FCT together.
The FCT has only one senator.
And then the minister. They are supposed to work hand in hand.
Exactly.
To run the federal capital territory. And said that, look, the FCT minister couldn't the senator representing the FCT
be present.
There's all the leads at this event. It's even the one I think is there at that event. And I'm seeing the cap of former Senator Aduda.
Yes.
Who is no longer the senator of the FCT.
He's there.
He's even there, present at that event. So you see that our politicians, is that they don't regard us, or they know that because the electoral process is completely flawed and they can manipulate the process, they just do what they want to do. They don't care.
I mean, it's even funny. At the case of Senator Iṛsᴜn쏘ജ, because she's even supposed to be invited.
No, it's an event.
It's the
FCT.
There's only one senator.
I've been trying to check whether she's on the
She's
team.
not. There's only one minister.
And
so after the minister,
after
the governor, after the FCT minister is the senator.
Because they run the state together.
And the funny thing is that both of them are even members of the opposition. So I'm wondering why she's there. Because Nyesom Wike is not a member of the APC.
No.
He's a member of the PDP.
Nyesom Wike is a member of the PDP.
Wike is a member of the PDP. Have we seen anywhere where Wike officially declared? I would argue based on facts. And facts are sacred.
He has not officially said
facts are sacred. Olush knew it when he went back to the PDP. We knew it. Wike had not come out to say Nigerians have left the PDP, which is the minister of
I'm not even bothered with
the senator.
I'm not even bothered with the opposition conversation. I'm talking about governance now. Elections are over, Opeyemi. And what I've thought that, look, as the FCT minister, you have a senator, the only senator.
You have. It's not like, this is not your zone.
And that was
no.
And with the insecurity in Abuja, that was what Senator Iṛsᴜn쏘ജ said. That, look, I can't even function with this man. He doesn't want to see me. He keeps moving around with the former senator Aduda, as if that one is still the current senator. And okay, what do you expect the helpless woman to do? Although people have said, she should have left her vacation, but the reality is that, look, if you know the way the politicians behave, I'm sure that the woman is even afraid to get near Nyesom Wike to do anything, because it's a decision that, look, you are just going to be elected or you will not function. So again, that's why I'm saying that, look, for us to get the best of us to rule the best of us, Opeyemi, to rule the rest of us, we must reform the electoral process.
If Wike is giving a whole sitting governor sleepless night, I want to with the senator.
God bless you, Opeyemi.
On Sunday, the governor of Rivers State was at the I think the Rivers State Government House Chapel. They were having a Thanksgiving, and for the very first time, I'm saying this, I saw a man that looked subdued.
Completely subdued.
And Fubara was saying that, I look at all of you, I make you happy, the way you're happy, the way you're excited, but am I happy that if God gives you a blessing, is that blessing supposed to come with pain and a cost? And you could see everything all over him. Well, that's a talk for another day.
He put himself in that position.
Exactly. That's why I said it's a talk for another day. Side forward.
Yeah.
After all of the noise and the shout and everything that we've done, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is back in the country. And while he was away, many good things didn't happen. A lot of bad things didn't happen.
And it's still happening.
And now the service chiefs appeared at the Senate, although the appearance has been suspended again. I don't know
because they said they wanted the Minister of State for Defense to also be present, join them, and they want a complete thing.
Exactly.
So NSA should also join them.
They've actually pended that.
Yeah.
The president is back. The NSA and the president's chief of staff had a meeting yesterday. Malam Nuhul Badu and Fᴏᴜᴜ had a meeting yesterday. They are protesting in Kano over, this state, the living standard. People cannot afford food. They are protesting in Niger State side forward. Niger State government had given instruction that you are not carrying any trucks out of this state to another state. How close are we to getting into food crisis? And don't forget, 3 years ago, the United Nations gave a projection that by 2030, that 60% of African countries will battle food crisis. In Nigeria, as we speak, farmers can't go to farms. Bandits have taken over. The ones that are managing to go to farm, they either get killed at the farms or they get kidnapped. Bandits are now collecting tax from farmers. Farmers cannot access the farms again because the roads are bad. They don't have trucks because the trucks have gotten super expensive. They cannot fuel the diesels. How close are we, side forward, to having food crisis in this country?
Well, today, Morocco, the government of Morocco announced subsidy on wheat. They had to announce subsidy on importation of wheat. And so what they are saying is that, look, import it in, we are going to subsidize because they are also battling serious food crisis. So, but food crisis all over the world. People will say, well, there's a global crisis, there's food crisis all over the world. Each country has its own peculiarities. Opeyemi. Our own issue is that, look, we have not been able to tap into the potentials that a Greek is supposed to bring to us as a nation. We have arable land. You can't compare a country, for example, in the desert, in the Maghrebs, with a country that has arable land that is supposed to activate serious mechanized farming and feed itself. So we have the potential to be able to feed ourselves from our local resources, but we are not doing that. The other one is insecurity. We've reported it, we've talked about it. It's even become more like, I won't sound like a broken record. A situation where farmers now have to pay people to access their farms. Where bandits and terrorists now collect taxes and royalties from farmers for them to be able to get to their farm. One issue. The other one is a situation where these elder farmer clashes up till now have not been able to resolve. We are still in a situation where the region that's supposed to be the food basket of the nation
is under heavy attack.
So why would you have food crisis? That is now complicated by the forest crisis. We are still battling with internal issues. So now with the forest crisis, it's become completely messed up. Because again, the things we used to import have gone through the roof. And I always tell people that, look, yes, you might see these are local things, but the reality is that there are other things that are attached to it that require forex. Up till now, the farmers are still talking about the fact that fertilizer is not even available. A lot of manufacturers are saying that the things they used to import, they can't import it again because of forex and all of that. Plants and machineries for farming have become very expensive. I'm sure parts of tractors and all of that now to be able. So it's all intertwined, and that's the reason why we're in this trouble. So that again is not held by the fact that, look, the purchasing power of Nigerians have now gone down. So even when the food is available, do you have the money to buy?
Exactly.
Because again, there's one thing to have reduced supply. The other one is that, look, even when the thing is available,
you can't afford it.
You can't even afford it. once in a while I try to engage my wife, ask 1 or 2 questions about, the price of food, commodities, and all of that. And when she gives me the list, sometimes I'm like, is this woman trying to rip me? Because there's a way you argue some of these things. Once in a while in the past, I used to help maybe a kilo of turkey, a kilo of chicken. When you're coming back, please let me buy. So I knew how much sometimes I used to buy in the past. But now they'll tell you that I'll pay me a kilo of turkey or chicken. It's almost 5,000.
It's 6,000.
Okay, it's 6,000.
Yes.
You know what a kilo is? You cannot. What the maximum you do with a kilo of chicken or turkey?
8 pieces.
Is 8 pieces.
For turkey, 8 pieces.
So that means
if you want to do economic cutting, they can maybe 3 from 1.
No, what it now means is that look, a family of 2 or 3 children, husband and wife, will do that in just one meal.
Just one meal.
So by the time you add the cost of pepper, maybe rice and all of that, you are saying that look, a family of 2 or 3, husband and wife,
on a meal cannot survive with 20,000.
That's what we are saying.
On a meal.
That's what we are saying. And how many families can afford that? How many families can actually afford that? So we are not in a good place. And I think now that the president is back, what
should be his priority right now?
Okay,
he's back in the country, just like we said. His visit to France, it was not a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
He didn't go to Israel, he didn't go to Jerusalem.
What we had was a surprising visit. Yeah.
Private.
Whatever
but
that
within
means,
that period, he was getting reports.
We should be getting
the last
reports.
time the Super Eagles won against
we saw him watching the match.
Saw the people that they left in Nigeria when he went alone, they used back to still go and greet him. So he's staying in touch with what is happening back home. He must have been seeing the kidnappings. He must have been seeing the fact that when the Ekiti state government is coming to thank the president, thank the inspector general of police, thank the national security advisor, we're also hearing that the families paid 15 million, and when they were going with the ransom, the bandits requested that they should bring food, cooked food, fried rice and chicken. They should put cigarettes. They should put a certain brand of energy drink, a certain brand of what do they call these tablets, and they took everything to those places. So I'm sure the president is seeing all of those. I'm sure the president kidnapped. I'm sure the president is seeing the fact that people cannot even get petrol to buy at 610 or 615. I'm sure the president is seeing that people cannot import anything into this country anymore. The import duty is crazy.
It's crazy.
You buy a car for maybe 3 million for still buying Belgium. Then you cannot even afford, because the person I want to sell to you will know that by the time he takes that money to the market, he will not get anything good to buy. The country is just at a spot where it looks like everybody, all his cabinet members, the ones that Nigerians had a lot of expectations on, even the minister of interior, the one that is working like Usain Bolt, has some ministers. The moment they got still a serving corps member, don't let us on board. The president is coming back. All of the
but they didn't tell about.
But
most likely,
if you bring those people to they can give you their words in your presence. But when you leave, they'll talk to their research team. If I want to go and invest in River State, how safe is the place? Oh, we want to go into agriculture. There's Jigawa State. Oh, there's Zamfara State.
I put my money there,
Benue. And I'm like, and you all click Benue.